Hi, welcome to the very first class. I'm so excited. Move forward with your business. The purpose of this class is to increase your skills, equip you with new superpower, and grow our unit. I can't wait to see how each of you feel at the end of the 6 weeks. And I just want to say congrats for stepping into the Big Girls Club. Our theme is going to be no one fails, no one fails. How would you feel if in the next 6 weeks we all ran across that finish line together? But here's the deal. You can do anything for 6 weeks. Don't overthink it. But here's the deal. I don't want you thinking about the next 6 weeks. Just think and focus on the next 7 days. So will you give me 7 days to run an awesome race for the next 7 days? And just give it your all and be all in. So for the next hour, I'll ask that you, I guess, how do I say this? Ask you to be in the moment. No multitasking. Go find a quiet place. I have nobody home right now, so it's easy. Nobody's with me. But lock yourself in a closet if you have to, which would totally be me if kids were around and things like that. But be in tune with us and with me here. And unless you're watching on your cell phone, put it in a drawer, put it away. In fact, here's mine. I will put it away so I don't get like distracted by blings and things like that. So this class is for those of you who want more for your business, those that want to take it to the next level. It's going to be very simple, not easy, but simple. There's a difference. So I started thinking, okay, what would I want to know if I woke up tomorrow and I was a brand new consultant on my business? Did I, but I want to be a higher director. So you get my feel, right? So where are you now? Where do you want to be? So when we get to the end of today, I'm going to give you some stuff to run with for the next week. So again, focusing on just the next 7 days. And I'm going to give you some homework and accountability for the next week. So if I woke up tomorrow and it was all gone, okay? So some issues that I had. I would want to understand. So again, this is if I were new at like running towards the next thing in my business. So for you, it might be being new as a consultant, being a restart consultant, wanting to just say whatever happened in the last 10 months doesn't count. I want to start over. So a huge part of that is time. Okay, so a couple things to time. We tend to either not plan or I tend to either not plan or always think I'm too busy. Okay. And too busy to plan, more specifically. Now, Mary Kay always said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I mean, no one actually puts on their date book, I'm going to fail today. But if you have nothing on your date book, nothing on your to-do list, nothing at all, you're going to fail because there's nothing there to do. If you have things that are, set out, this is what I'm going to do. This is my goals for the day, for the week, for the month. Things are going to happen. It's that simple. So a huge issue with me when I wasn't really moving up in my business, things like that, was not planning. I would wake up, and this is even before having Graham and having kids, and this was just me. It was just me. I had gone full time with my business, and hold on one second here. Okay, we're good. And I just didn't have a plan. I just woke up and said, all right, today's going to be all Mary Kay day. And you know what I would do? I would manage my inventory. I would make sure everything's aligned straight. I would clean my office and it was beautiful. Y'all, the first few months of my business, my office was awesome. Organization to the max. Not to say that organization is bad, but it was a beautiful office. Like in our little 2-room duplex, it was a gorgeous office, but hardly anything got done because that's all I ever did. And I thought I was working, okay? And then another huge thing that was big for me was thinking I was too busy to plan. So, I'm too tired tonight from whatever the heck happened during the day. So tomorrow will be a fresh new day. I'll wake up, I'll have my coffee, and I'll sit down and plan. Well, by the time I did that, half the day was gone, and now here I am in that same cycle, spinning my wheels, right? So what I started to do, and I'll get into more details about everything towards the end here, but what I did was make sure I had my weekly accomplishment sheet filled out, or my weekly plan sheet filled out for the week. So Sunday to Sunday or Monday to Monday, whatever you want to, structure that as. And have my 6 most important things list out for what I'm going to do for my business today. So I would do it at night so that tomorrow morning when I woke up, I had what I was going to do. I woke up with a purpose. I didn't just wake up twiddling my thumbs, extending my cup of coffee or 2 cups of coffee by 2 hours, and then saying, well, let me probably get to work. So time is so important. You need to plan, or nothing's going to happen. So another huge thing was not communicating. I didn't communicate with my director, who was also my recruiter. Y'all know Callie. And I didn't really communicate things with Andrew, with my husband. And he was really the only person in my life that was directly impacted by what I was doing. And so I want to give you guys there's freedom in people knowing what you want and knowing how much time it's going to take and knowing what you're doing and seeing a plan happen. So when you're communicating your plan to people, not just saying, I'm going to go lock myself up in my office and do Mary Kay, you know what I mean? Or see ya family, I'm going to Starbucks to work on my Mary Kay, or wherever your workspace is. They need to know what's happening. They need to know what time you want, quote unquote, away from the family. And so I'm letting you know right now that temporarily you can have this conversation with your family, with your loved ones, the people that are like right there in your day to day. Just letting them know, especially husbands. And if you have older kids that understand what's going on, get them in on the goal. Let them know that this is what I'm trying to do. Mommy might not be available at every single point in the day because mommy is working towards this, so that, let's say it's a trip. I haven't personally had this for us yet, and Graham is too small to understand what's going on, so he can't really rally around the goal. But if you have older kids, whether they're, as young as 3, they'll understand. If you say, look, mommy's doing this, so for the next 2-3 hours, you can't really bother mommy, things have to happen, or especially with your husband, just letting him know that temporarily you need permission to run all out and what that looks like for you. So, for example, telling your husband, or me telling Andrew, hey, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to have events at the house, or I have events elsewhere, or whatever. In those 3 times for the next 3-4 weeks, just because here's the thing, you don't need all the time in the world to make your business happen. So this is where planning comes into it. So you have to have your plan and then approach your family or your main cheerleaders saying, this is what I need to do. So do I have permission to run all out with this for the next, let's say, 4 weeks? And our PaceSetters is 6 weeks. So you could even just say 6 weeks to run all out, to be able to have that flexibility of, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the evenings, or whatever you decide to be your times to work your Mary Kay. I need permission to run all out and see how this works, because I'm just kind of piddling here, piddling there, not really doing huge work and massive work in a short period of time to see the bigger results that Mary Kay can give you, because it can give you huge results. It really can. But having a party here and there, having a facial here and there, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to give you that leap in your business. So really sitting down to talk to your loved ones and say, look, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is what mommy's going to be doing, and setting up things for them to understand that, look, this isn't forever. So bear with me, because mommy has some big plans ahead for us. So you gotta communicate. You gotta communicate. So another huge thing was also allowing others to run my time. So I would let other people run my time by giving them any option in the world to, yes, I need to book you. I need to have a facial. I'm available all hours of the day. When would you like to do it? Okay. Have you ever been to a hairstylist or tried to get an appointment with a hairstylist and you call her and you say, okay, I need a haircut and color and whatever you need. And she says, great, come in whenever you'd like. For me, a little red flag goes up, thinking, say what? You are available all day long. That means you have hardly any customers and clients. That's a bad thing. You want to go to the salon and the hairstylist that is hard to get into because you know she's good. People hold on to her and she's amazing. You want to be like that too. You want to not put on a front that, oh, I am so busy and I cannot possibly facial you and really squeeze you into this one little time frame. But you just have to limit yourself too. Okay. So just like I said earlier, if Monday, Wednesday, Friday night are your days of booking and facialing and working your business, then you fit people into those times. You don't just take any time that they want. Because then they're going to know that you're desperate, that you're really don't have anything else to do with your business and with your life, and they're going to run all over you. So you can't let people run your time. And again, that still goes back to the family. If they don't know when you're planning to work, don't expect them to not leave you alone and to give you that space, you know. And then the last thing about time would be thinking about it and not doing it. Huge in Mary Kay. We tend to have in our minds, and I'm so guilty of this. So I'm a huge, I guess, would you call it a victim of this? Look, I've done so much today because I thought about booking this appointment, doing the laundry, what we're going to have for the next 5 meals of the day or of the week, and just all these different things that you plan in your head, but it never makes it down on paper or is never verbalized to anyone else to where you can have accountability through them. So we tend to think about things a lot and think about doing work and think about what time could I have for work and think about, oh, that one woman I met at whatever event last week, I should probably follow up with her. Oh, and you just, your mind gets so boggled and it almost tries to play games on you of, see, I worked. I thought about Mary Kay today. I worked. Wrong. You did not work. You thought about Mary Kay. Just the same as you think about being in that beautiful, skinny mini bikini. But if you did not work out or did not eat well, you didn't get there. Okay. So you're just thinking about it. We can think about everything. But if we don't do anything, what's the point? Right? So that's another huge thing. We have to do it, not just think about it. And as we set out on this next 4 weeks, be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with how much time it's going to take, honestly. So, and be committed to that. So if you know that for yourself, booking calls or texts, to get 2 appointments on your books takes about 15, 20 minutes, don't just allot 10 minutes because that's all you have. Really work on those 20 minutes, finding those 20 minutes, working them into your calendar to where you can see real results from real time, not expect something bigger from the less time that you're giving it. So another thing I'll say about that too, that kind of contradicts what I just said. I know, I'm sorry. Yes, booking will take you 15, 20 minutes. But if you sit down and book, coach the appointments you have a party within the next hour, like really get your mindset into Mary Kay, you're going to be so much more efficient and so much more on your game. This is going to take more than 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, 10 minutes there. So this is why it's so important to communicate this to your family of, look, I need these 3 to 4 solid hours or whatever your time frames are for yourself. You need to be honest about it. If you're not, you're just going to get overwhelmed with the thought that you're not doing anything. You're trying to do stuff because you're thinking about working, but it's not getting done. So you're not getting the results you want. So it's all in vain. Okay, so be honest and real. It's going to take time to invest, to work your business every day. And that doesn't mean working 8 hours a day. Because honestly, at this point in life, even earning free cars and things like that, I'm not working 8 hours a day. But the hours that I am working, whether it's 1 hour here and an hour here, or 2 solid hours or 3 solid hours. So for example, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have childcare for Graham. He goes and sees his grandmas. I have from 9 to 4 to work and be full out. Now, of those 9 hours, or how many hours is that? 9 to 4, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. Of those 7 hours, I'm not doing Mary Kay all day long. I'm also running a few errands for the house and for myself and things like that. But I do make sure that I carve out specific time that's these are the next 4 hours that I am working Mary Kay. Or if I have, an appointment or things like that booked during that time, I have those parties and then I do my booking and my coaching and follow-ups and things like that afterwards. But it's really specific as to what I'm doing. And again, it takes planning. It takes planning. And seeing faces every week. Seeing faces every week is so important. Consistency is the key when you really want to grow your business and grow it quickly. Or steadily. Let's see. So with that, you want to temporarily remove anything that's not top priority. And hear me out. Hear me out. I might step on some toes here, but hear me out. That means temporarily not volunteering for everything. Okay. I know as moms, I know Graham is small, but I have enough friends to know that some of y'all moms out there want to be at every PTA thing, at every classroom party, at every soccer game, at everything. They're, volunteering to be part of, I'm not saying being part of your kids' lives, but, volunteering for their classroom or for something at church or for whatever have you. You know what I mean? So just temporarily not volunteering for everything. So pick whichever one is like your top priority and stick to that one. And again, have that same conversation like you had with your family. Just say, look, I have some things going on in my life right now that I want to, achieve. And I just need to take a step back. And you're a volunteer. You're not going to do anything about it, right? Okay. Not volunteering for overtime at work if you have another job, because you're sabotaging your Mary Kay business. If your goal is to get out of whatever job you are to have your Mary Kay full time or part time or be home with your kids or whatever the situation is, you're just fighting yourself. Okay. So temporarily, that's the key word here. You don't need forever to make this huge. You just need a short amount of time of specific work to get to that place. And then maintenance will do itself, right? Or it won't do itself. You still have to do it, but it won't be quite as intense, okay? Temporarily having your hubby take the kids to the movies or the park or something so that you can have that solid quiet time at your house, to have a party, to have your booking calls, to have your sharing appointments, things like that. And again, it's temporary. It's not okay. It's a standing thing that every Friday night, daddy has to figure out what to do with the kids. You know what I mean? It's just for a few weeks. Okay, temporarily not going to your standing girls night out, unless you need to book them. If you need to book them, then you keep going to get them booked. But they're not going to think less of you. If you say, hey girls, I need to take a hiatus. I got some stuff I need to get done. Okay. I'll be back. Because again, it's temporary. It's not forever. Okay. Temporarily not watch TV. With everything that there is technology-wise these days, you won't miss a beat with any of your favorite shows because they're recorded somewhere. Hulu, Netflix, TiVo, whatever have you. So temporarily cut out TV because that is not a priority to your life, okay? Temporarily not crash when you get off of work. Like come home and just crash on the couch, order in takeout, and boom, I'm done. I worked a whole day. Well, yeah, you worked a whole day, but you're going to be in that cycle forever if you don't make a change. So temporarily make that change. Really get serious about your priorities. And, you know, for me, it's God first, family second, and then Mary Kay comes after that, career third. So what are your priorities? And, you know, you kind of have to figure out what keeps you busy. So what do you do when you have a full plate? I know we all as women wear this little badge that says I'm busy, okay? This is the part where you get to delegate things out. Well, I'll be honest, that's really hard for me. I'm a control freak. I really am a control freak. And I know that no one can clean my house like I can, that no one can enter my profile cards like I can, that no one can grocery shop like I do. No one can do anything like I do, so I have to do it all. Newsflash for you, you can't do it all, and that's okay. We are not called to be super women and super mommies. That is not our calling at all. We're called to be what our kids need for us, and sometimes that doesn't mean having to do all the grocery shopping. That doesn't mean having to clean your toilets just the perfect way because this is how I clean them and that one speck of dirt needs to be gone. You know what I mean? So things can be delegated out. And if that means hiring it out, hire it out, really. Or, you know, if you have older kids, enroll your kids. Say, look, mommy needs 20 minutes of help with the house. You do this, you do this, you do this. We'll go out for ice cream later tomorrow, or whatever the situation is. You really got to get creative and figure out what's going to be good for you and your family. But you got to delegate these things out because all of those things are penny jobs. Penny jobs. You get paid pennies. If you were to hire it out, it's not that expensive to hire it out because you know that you could be making in a party of 4 to 6 people, if everyone purchased $50 out of a 6 people party, that would be $300 in sales. Party takes you about an hour, $300 in sales. That means you made $150 an hour. $150 an hour. I guarantee you, hiring a cleaning service for a couple hours a week to finish off the rest of your house is not going to cost you $150. But how long would it take you to clean the entire house? Tons of time because you're just one person and that's not your specialty. Your specialty is to be with the people, to show them the product, to sell Mary Kay, to share the opportunity to build your team. That's what you're good at, and that's going to pay you a lot more than what a penny job would pay you, okay? So one last thing I'll say about that in terms of just the grocery shopping situation, this is kind of neat. If you don't have a grocery store that does curbside pickup, find you a grocery store that does curbside pickup. Because y'all, the last few times I've grocery shopped have taken me maybe 15 minutes total. I make my list. I get online to marketstreet.com. I know Kroger's do this. Walmart's do this. Albertsons does this. Whatever grocery store you have around town, figure it out. But make my list, get online, input my list, takes about 5 minutes. And then you go and pick it up. And you just sit on the curb by your grocery store, call the number on the wall, and they bring your groceries out to you. So you cannot have that excuse anymore of, I need to go grocery shop, okay? And I gotta tell you, when I first hired my first help, and it took me, I regrettably say this, it took me way too long to hire help because I thought I could do it. I thought I was Superwoman. I thought that if I didn't do it, it wasn't going to get done and it wasn't going to get done right. And guess what? An 18-year-old in high school was just as adequate to clean the bathroom, put the dishes away, tidy up the house, and, oh my goodness, put in profile cards, clean my mirrors, ready my bag for my next party in what time that I could sit down and do all my booking calls and follow up with my customers, do customer, you know, what's it called? Customer service calls, things like that, that no one else can do because that's our job in Mary Kay. And in those times, I kid you not, I was paying my first helper $8 an hour. She was a high school student and she lived a couple blocks down the road from us and was super excited to help me out. because she knew she was making a difference in my life. And it was really neat to just kind of see her get excited about all of that. But one time I sat down, and in the time I made 15 customer appreciation calls, I sold over $600 worth of product. So that's over $300 in profit in about an hour's time. Okay, just checking in with my customers. Hey, Susie, how you doing? Just making sure you're not running low on X, Y, and Z that you purchased a few months ago. You know, is there anything you'd like to try new? Things like that. An hour. And guess what? In that hour, I paid her $8. She did the dishes. She input my last 2 parties of profile cards. She she took the dog out a lot. We were living in an apartment. So she had to take the dog out a lot, and a bunch of other stuff. And those things would have taken me an hour to do. Yet the hour I paid her $8, and I made those customer appreciation calls, I made $300. So minus $8 that I paid her for that hour, boom, I got $292 in profit. It's worth it. Okay. Here we go. Oh, okay. Last thing I'll say about this whole, delegate and time thing. I also guarded my time by creating boundaries. I think it's so important to be able to clock in and clock out of your business, but with grace and flexibility. So I wasn't rigid on, oh my gosh, it is 8:30 p.m. I am done with Mary Kay. If I still had a call to make, I would make it, but I would not extend it into the whole evening to where, oh my gosh, it's 10 o'clock and I haven't had time with Andrew. I haven't had, and again, I'm talking about this before Graham. If I add Graham into the mix, then, I would have had to stop a lot earlier, but know that, I guess, how do I put this? You make your boundaries, nobody else does. So if you need leeway in those boundaries just by a few minutes here and there, that's okay. Because your mind does need to shut off with Mary Kay and focus on those other priorities. But I guess a better way of what grace and flexibility means is we throw around this idea of God first, family second, and career third. And I'm just going to call it out. I think we sometimes use that as our, we use that line as our badge to opt out of things. And I already have heard a few girls use this line as to why they don't want to do their Mary Kay this week, this month, whatever it is. And I know I'm going to step on some toes because it just happens. But I'm not talking about church first, family second, career third. I'm talking about God first, family second, career third. And, you can be involved in all these different things at church, and that's all fine and dandy, but why are you really doing it? Like, are these things really benefiting you as a family, as your personal walk with the Lord and your involvement in your family and then your business? Or is it just, I need to be at everything? Because there is a line there. And we can be an inch deep and a mile wide, or we could be an inch wide and a mile deep. And I'd rather you be an inch wide and a mile deep because there's so much more to you that way. So sometimes that means that we don't teach every Sunday school class temporarily, okay? Because you need fuel and fire and energy to do what you need to do. And giving yourself some flexibility and grace is okay to pull out of those things temporarily. So, for example, I may tell you, or we may tell you that your family time, let me see where I want to go with this. Hold on, I'm losing myself in my notes. 1 second. So, okay, for example, we may tell our family that I'm putting my phone away. It's family game night, and I'm going to be all in with you, as a family. Well, temporarily, if you have a brand new consultant who's doing her welcome steps and may need to be, have access to you temporarily for the next 6 weeks, maybe ask your family, hey, I know we usually put our phones away during family time, but temporarily, can I just have it out in case this one person calls? if she has a question about her business or she's in the middle of a party or whatever, and just help her out temporarily, not forever, temporarily. So does that kind of make sense to you? Okay, cool. I heard a resounding yes from everybody. Okay, so let's talk about clear communication with those around us, those important people in our life. When I began to move up in my business, I didn't really plan and communicate. I told you guys that. And I would just be feeling like I did a ton of work, and I would tell Andrew, okay, I'm going to school, I'm doing these, I have 2 other jobs on the side, now I'm doing my Mary Kay, and it would just all get into a jumbled mess. And then he would feel like at the end of the day, well, when did we ever get time to spend together? And so I really had to let him know, okay, this is what I'm doing, and giving him that communication freed both of us up for him to not be sitting around the house twiddling his thumbs about, well, when did Sarah say she was going to get home? Well, she didn't really say. So I don't know, I really want to spend time with her, but the boys called me out to, go out for drinks or whatever. I don't know if I could do that because I want to be home for Sarah. And y'all, we've had this conversation, and it was just like, look, this is my plans. You are free to go out with the guys, watch whatever game, things like that during these times. And these are the times that we will have date night, that we will have dinner together, that we will, and it looks different for everybody, but really clearly communicating that so that they know what's happening, okay? So you have to be a good boss and employee. So we're moving past the communication and things like that. Now we're getting into work. So you have to be a good boss and a good employee. And in order to be a good boss and a good employee, you don't just show up. Let's say you work at a food industry, a restaurant of some type, okay? You know what your responsibilities are. You go in and your boss has the schedule on the wall about, these are all the things that need to get done, or you just know what needs to get done, and you know how to work the cash register when people need to buy stuff, and you know how to do all these different things. It just becomes not mindless, but it becomes, automated, and you know what you're doing. So you're a good employee because the boss gave you a list, and he gave you exactly when, or she gave you exactly what schedule you need to come into work and things like that. So in your Mary Kay business, you need to be both. You need to be able to be the boss, to say, draw that line in the sand that this is when I'm working, this is when I'm not working, this is what I'm going to be doing during work. And then you have to be a good employee to actually do what you said yourself to do. Okay. So that starts out with planning and with writing things down and with really being real with your time, like we already talked about. So a weekly plan sheet. Oh shoot, I don't have the weekly plan sheet here, but you can download it. It's on our website, and it's also on Mary Kay in Touch, weekly plan sheet. And it has it broken down of 7 days a week by hours, okay? So you really have to go in there and fill that out at the beginning of every week that, okay, in these chunks of time, this is when I have family time, this is when I have my other job, this is when we have, whatever else is happening. And then you fill in the blanks with your Mary Kay. And you really, really have to, when you write it out and work from it, there's so much just that breath of fresh air because you know what you're doing. It's not just a hot mess. You know what you're doing. And hold on, let me see how we're doing on time here. 1 second. Oh, where did my time thing go? Okay, I think we're fine. Okay. Anyways, get back to my notes here. Okay, so weekly plan sheet. Print you out. You know what I did one year? Just because I know this is one of my downfalls. If I fail to have the tracking sheets, I automatically fail to track, and I automatically fail to plan. So for me, what I did at the beginning of when I started to work my business, I went and I got to Office Depot and I had 52 copies made of a weekly plan sheet, and I just said, bam, I have them for the next 52 weeks for the whole year. I have no excuse not to do these anymore. So there you go. Now, in those every single day to day, you're going to have your 6 most important list. And the top 6 things that need to be on your 6 most important lists are the following. Personal booking, always number 1. Always number 1. If you're not booking, you don't have appointments on your books. If you don't have appointments on your books, you can't be showing the product and selling the product. If you're not showing and selling the product, you also don't have somebody to share the opportunity with. If you're not sharing the opportunity with anybody, you're not building your business. If you don't have appointments on your books, you are out of business. Okay? Plain and simple. So number 1 is booking. Number 2 is coaching. So confirming the appointments, getting the guest lists, asking her the coaching questions for pre-profiling, things like that. And again, all of this is on our website. So coaching. If you book a party and you don't coach it, expect it to not follow through. Okay? Mary Kay always said, a party worth booking is a party worth coaching. So if you want a facial, coach them. So number 1, booking. Number 2, coaching. Number 3, personal team building. Now, yes, you'll be sharing the opportunity in every appointment you have, but it's also considered personal building or personal team building by following up with someone. You know, they said they would watch the video for you a couple days ago. Have you really gotten an answer from that? Shoot them a text. I'm sending out a video. Someone wants a little bit more information and you don't feel equipped to explain it out, schedule a 3-way call with me or a coffee date with me. So booking, coaching, selling. And then the last thing, the fourth thing is customer service. So you want to be touching base with your customers after you first met them and they purchased product 2 days after, 2 weeks after, and 2 months after. So 4 main things in Mary Kay: working, coaching, sharing, and selling, and which is customer service. So the 5th thing is going to be working with your team and lead generation. So if you do have a team, you're going to be helping them with parties. You make sure that they're registered for the events that our unit has going on and our national area has going on. You encourage them to come to your meetings, or to the unit meetings, things like that. And if you have a small team, this doesn't mean checking in with them every day unless they're super duper new. So traditionally, you're only going to check in on them once or twice a week. Okay, not every day. We don't want to drive them crazy. And then the 6th thing is going to be everything else. So what happens most of the time is we do everything backwards. We don't get the most important things done first, and we get tired about doing everything else, which is organizing our inventory, making deliveries, things like that, taking care of the household, before we do what's important for our business. And again, I'm guilty of this. And we get tired, and then we say, oh, all the booking, coaching, recruiting, and selling, I'm going to do that tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. And if you're going to do it tomorrow, might as well not be in business because it's never going to get done. So remember, put your oxygen mask on first before you help others. So that means personal booking, personal sharing, or coaching, personal sharing, and your selling and customer service. So I guess to really wrap up the time situation, I know I said we were done with time, but now we're really done with the time situation. So my last comment on time is time will pass and life will happen. You will set a big goal, and there will come a time when there will be a test of how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? When you know you need to see 5 more faces by the end of the month to reach your power start of 30, and somebody canceled, and the kid has some extra birthday party he needs to go to, and you just think, well, gotta take him to the birthday party. Oh well for that party. Or oh well for my facial party. How bad do you want it? If you want it bad, here's just an example. You'll say, oh, forgot about that party for, little Jason or whatever. Maybe I can have either A, his dad take him, or if no other mommy's going to the party, hey, can you swing by and also pick up, Junior for me? I know the name just changed. What name did I just say earlier? Anyways, can you pick up Junior for me? I got some work things to do, and it just would be a huge, huge favor if you picked him up for me. And most times they're not going to say no. So you just explain, look, I have work to do, and they'll honor that. They'll really get excited for you to help you and things like that. So how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? So make a decision right now what you're going to do in spite of what life throws at you. Okay? You might need to get creative, just like I said, think outside the box. Sometimes Sometimes we get less sleep and need a little bit more coffee, but again, time is going to pass. My prayer is going to be that all of you know that and accept that your time is going to look different than Susie Q's time, than my time, than Sally Mae's time, and you need to know, or you may need a group that group all of your faces together at one time. Make one giant party at your house instead of going around like somebody else could, because you do have kids and you do only want to pay one babysitter a week or whatever the situation is. So don't look to the left, don't look to the right, look straight ahead as to what you're doing. And life is going to happen. Again, things are going to happen. Kids are going to get sick. Cars are going to break down. People will postpone or cancel. You will commit that even, so I pray that you will commit that even through all of that, that you're going to do it anyway. You're going to find a way. You're going to figure it out. And you're going to create your story and your future in Mary Kay. And I have countless stories of women who didn't have time, who didn't have all the green lights, who didn't have all their duckies in a row, and they did it anyways. They did it anyways. So that's what I would do with my time. I would plan it out. I would get permission from those that I need to get permission from, and then I would run. I would run my race. And I saw this meme. It was the funniest thing, like back to the whole not having your ducks in a row. I don't have ducks and I don't have rows. I have squirrels and they're at a rave party. So if you've got squirrels at a rave party, or saw another meme, all my ducks are not in the same row, but at least they're in the same pond. Okay, that's fine. You can still make this happen. You really can. It just depends on how much you want it, what it's going to do to, or what it's going to give your family access to, and just what legacy you're trying to create. So on to the next thing. It's going to be about emotions. So as women, we can be emotional. Who can say that it's your emotions is a tricky area in your life? I can. I think if we can control what's between our head and our heart, that we can master these emotions and rock it out still. Because sometimes that line gets fuzzy as to what we're feeling and what we're thinking, and then that just, squirrels at a rave party, right? So over the next 6 weeks, we're going to study emotions. Hold on. So we're going to study them all over the 6 weeks, just a little bit here and there, because they go into all of what we do in our business. Because we are women, we are working with women, and we got emotions. So some of the biggest things that kill us emotionally are comparison. We look at, someone's moving faster than I'm moving. Someone is, sorry, I'm seeing something outside my window. Someone is building their team quicker. Someone is on track for their car, and they've only been in Mary Kay for 5 days, and you've been in it for 5 months, and you're just like, what is happening? Don't let that phase you, because here's just a personal story about this. I had this, there was another lady in our national area that was from my area, that I knew, that she had just started her business. I had been in Mary Kay for a year, a year, and I had one team member. It's just because I wasn't really focusing and working, that's why. So again, you have hope. Now I'm a senior director with multiple free cars. There is hope, okay? But I didn't see that yet. I only saw what this woman was doing. And I didn't see, I only saw what she was achieving. I wasn't seeing the work she was putting behind it, okay? And so she moved up real quick. She was in DIQ within 2 months. She became a director shortly right after that. She was on track for her car, and I was sitting here freaking crying my brains out because why is this not working for me? She did it so fast. That's not fair. She has all the right people. She has all the right customers. She has all the right family. And mind you, she had a family of 4 children. Okay. So it wasn't like we were even the same. And I just was comparing myself over and over and over and over again. And that's not okay, because that only put me further back in my business, because I was stressing out over that difference, and I couldn't see what was in front of me and the path that God had formed for me to go down, just what he had made for her. And that's not okay. You have your own story that you're writing. Write yours. Stop reading other people's books. Another huge thing that might get your emotions is not moving on quickly after a disappointment. So you've got to have bounce back ability. We call it, resilience, bounce back ability, whatever you want to call it. Okay, such and such canceled on me. Have your 5 minutes pity party. Move on to the next thing. Because that's the biggest thing we can do in sabotaging ourselves is having our pity parties way too long. Way too long. And again, there was a time in my business where I had a series of people canceling on me over and over and over again. And it just was so disheartening. I put my business away for a couple of months. And I said, forget it. This is not worth it. I hate the heartbreak from this. This is not okay. But after I got over that 2-month pity party, and yeah, it was 2 months. It was horrible. Barely made any sales, barely did anything because I just was in a pity party. When I finally was like, no, that's it. We're done. We're going on. Y'all, I went into DIQ that next month. And it just took getting over things and still working past it and knowing that if you trust in the process, if you trust in this business, it's going to get you places. You just got to do it and get over yourself, okay? Another huge thing that you might do, because I did it, was putting all my eggs in one basket. Oh my gosh, y'all. This party, I've coached it so amazing. All 5 women are fantastic. I can see how each one would benefit from her own Mary Kay business. And they're all 5 going to sign up, and they're all 5 going to come in with full store inventories, and I'm going to earn my car in 1 month. No, you're not. At least not like that. You're not, because you put all your eggs in one basket and you heaven forbid one of them says no, let alone all of them say no to the opportunity. Maybe they'll be amazing customers, but if none of them sign up and start their own business, now you're a really hot mess because your whole world just came crashing down in front of you as to what you thought should happen. So no, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't have your expectations too high. That doesn't mean don't dream. You can dream, but you also have to hustle to make it happen, okay? And yeah, that's it for that one. And a huge thing just emotionally with that is to be, my biggest lesson I would say would be to understand if I woke up and I was a brand new person today, what would I implement today? Not focusing on what happened yesterday and dragging that into today. Does that make sense? Okay. Another fun thing about emotions. Know thy triggers. We have positive triggers and we have negative triggers. And a trigger is a moment in time, an experience, an action, a feeling, any outside influence that creates a positive or negative feeling in you. So, for example, it's raining outside. For some, that's a negative trigger. It's really not raining outside, but we're pretending. It's really sunny and hot right now, but it's raining outside. And again, for some, that would be a negative trigger. It makes you not want to work. Getting a no on a day that makes you not want to work is even harder. Let's see, another trigger would be having someone not show up. That just sends you into this spiral of a pity party. Someone says, like your mind stores all of these triggers and automatically jumps to those things when something bad happens. Does that make sense? So you got to figure out what your negative triggers are, and then you got to figure out what your positive triggers are. So I'll kind of more so focus on the negative now because it's harder to get rid of the negative ones, and it's super simple to get positive ones and be on track with those things. So sometimes our negative triggers could be, on Facebook, you see someone that looks like they have it all together, and you start comparing that, oh, I don't have my life all together. And honestly, this is one of my issues. This really is one of those things that triggers me to start comparing and put myself down as to what my life is about. So getting rid of these things. This is just an example of it. So-and-so negatively triggers me whenever I see their Facebook posts about how perfect and beautiful their life is, and I'm over here, and grandma's screaming, something's burning in the oven, and it's pouring outside, and the dog wants to come in, and it's muddy, and it's just a mess, and I see them, having a Mai Tai at the beach. Guess what I do to get rid of these negative triggers so that I don't have this issue again, especially with this specific person? I unfollow them. Unfollow them on Facebook. They don't know that you are unfollowing them. They don't get a message. They don't get a memo or a notification. You just unfollow them. And guess what? You're never going to be negatively triggered by seeing them sipping a Mai Tai on the beach and their children all sitting in a line being perfect little angels while yours is screaming in the background. You're not going to have that trigger anymore. Okay? So you just need to figure out how to eliminate triggers. So that's just one example. So this week, you're going to write down your negative triggers. And when we know our triggers, we can defend ourselves against them. So now that we know our negative triggers, what do we need to know about our positive triggers? So what positive trigger can bring us out of a negative trigger? Because sometimes it's simply just removing that negative trigger, but sometimes it's also replacing it. So it could be a rainy day. So back to our rainy day situation. It could be on a rainy day. Instead of just, oh, it's a gloomy day and forget this, make a cup of hot coffee, light a candle, maybe get out of the house, work at a Starbucks or something where it's a little more lively, because even though it's raining, people are still having coffee and going to Starbucks. Get some endorphins going, do some exercise, something to just snap you out of that negative trigger. And knowing our triggers is so critical to mastering our emotions. And remember how I said we're not called to be super women, but here's a superpower for us non-super women. Knowing your trigger. When you know your trigger, both negative and positive, you can coach your way out of whatever negative thing is happening and jump back into, have that bounce back ability to overcome that, to get back on track with what you were doing and not let it affect your entire day. Okay. So I'm not talking about, get through deep-seated stuff. I'm a huge fan of having some extra help in these areas if needed. Let's say, you do need professional help or things like that. I'm not saying giving you tips on how to get out of, a depression or whatever. I'm just saying day-to-day things, you can coach yourself through them. Okay. So just talking about everyday things that we're going through. Okay. So moving on. So when we know our triggers, we can combat some of the new things like working even though we don't feel like it, showing up to our Mary Kay business every day like it would be a traditional job. And when, I never worked a full-time job. So for me, I don't know what an 8-to-5 job looks like. I jumped into Mary Kay right out of college. So I had to create that 8-to-5. I never had the discipline of having that authority boss over me saying you got to work from 8 to 5. So I really had to figure out what my 8 to 5 would look like so that I could work through the day without letting emotions overtake me. Does that make sense? So knowing that, yes, this is cosmetics, yes, this is skincare, but having that thought in your head of, I'm showing up to my job, people are depending on me, I'm going to show up even though I have a bad hair day, even though it's raining outside and I feel like curling up and going back to sleep, or it's tempting to do something else, even though someone told me no yesterday, I'm going to show up. And that's an emotional decision we have to make, to not let the rest of the world fall in on our parade, okay? So let's see. Okay, so the next thing I want to know is, the next thing I would want to know in, really getting a leap on my business is, if I was doing it all over again, is to understand the mindset of a sales business. So most of us did not come from a sales background. If you did, you have a little bit upper hand on the game, but I did not come from a sales background. In fact, we were the kind of people that didn't sell Girl Scout cookies. We just contracted it. What am I saying? We just bought all the cookies that we were supposed to be selling, and my mom just handed them out. Like, it was ridiculous. So I did not come from a sales background. So we need to know things like averages. How many people will it take to get a booking, a new team member? Averages per party help us with managing our emotions, because if we know that out of 10 people that we facial, only 8 will become customers, and only about 6 or 7 will be lifelong customers, and not getting, sad and hurt and offended about those other 3 that who knows what the heck happened to them. That helps. Guard your emotions, to know that it's not about you, it's not against you, it's just the nature of sales. Okay. I have a girlfriend that when she was going through DIQ, she did something like 40 sharing appointments and had not gained a single team member. And now with our emotions, most of us would say, forget this, it's too painful. But she knew enough about sales that she knew you needed a certain amount of no's to get to yeses, and that yeses were right around the corner. She knew that because she had come from a sales business. And no, we don't get 100% yeses. Doesn't matter who you are. And not 100% will buy, not 100% will book, not 100% will recruit. Not all recruits who come in will do something. So just knowing that will also help guard your emotions, because again, we can't take everything personally. It's a business. So there. And the difference between an entrepreneurial job and a traditional job, you need to know the difference. As an entrepreneur, you're constantly hustling, but your constant hustle is going to pay you out so much more in both cash, paycheck of the heart, life quality or quality of life, flexibility, than someone in an 8-to-5 job. That's just the fact. And sometimes in an entrepreneurial job, we work like crazy and we don't get paid right away. But when we do start getting paid, we're not working as crazy because we've gotten the crazy out and we're just pushing forward at a normal speed. And you're getting paid a ton more than what someone, sitting in an office from 8 to 5 would be getting paid. And I've had parties where I gave away more in hostess credit than I actually sold. And I would have other parties where I barely set up because things were so fast, and boom, I sold $1,000. So you never really know how this is going to happen. That's why everything is based on averages. And so when we understand this, we can get through these emotions a lot better, and we get paid a lot to help people through their emotions, especially when you start building a team. It's going to be so fun to cheer on those team members and their wins, but we get paid to help them along the way through how their business is building itself as well. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You will have team members that will struggle, and you're going to get paid to help them struggle. And I know Callie was paid to help me struggle. And that's just part of it. But know that you're making a much bigger impact on their life than an 8 to 5 job would. Okay. All right, let's see. So just another little time and emotion tidbit. Know your triggers, and like, for example, I know my triggers and I know how I need to start my day to start it right. I have a little devotional, I get my head in the right space, I have my coffee, I eat breakfast. That's part of just me needing a good day. And then I surrender my day, Lord, it's all up to you, here's my list. I'm gonna work hard, but I know ultimately it's up to you, and that just really helps take the burden off what the day is gonna look like. Okay, now I've got my day and my week all laid out. I have a plan. I know my triggers. I know how I can trigger myself back into activity and keep myself going. So the last thing you would really need to focus on is owning your skills in this business. Okay, so biggest issues with the skill area is wanting all the skills at once and not being patient that it's going to take some time to learn everything. Okay, it's going to take time, and that's okay. There's no perfect practicing. You cannot practice and do your parties over and over and over and over and over again with nobody in front of you. You have to just get in there and do it. with people, and you will learn and get better over time. And then another huge thing for me was not working the skills that made me uncomfortable. So I knew I was, weak in closing the sale. I really knew I was weak in closing the sale. And I would just skip over the entire closing sheet and, freebies and all that. And I would say, okay, we're done. Let me know if you want anything. So if I wasn't working the skill, I was never getting over, my fear about it. I was never perfecting it. And I was hardly ever selling anything. Like I had a season in my business that I recruited a ton of people, but I wasn't selling worth a darn because I was awesome at sharing the opportunity, but I was horrible at selling the product. So you'll go through seasons and phases and things like that, but you always have to just push through the skills that you don't feel comfortable with in order to get comfortable with them. What would I do today? Number one, I would practice them at a time. I would practice them one at a time until I owned them. When I could wake up in the middle of the night and boom, do a class, just like that. And you guys, I was actually thinking about this not too long ago, how I used to get anxiety about an hour before my party would show up, and I just didn't know what to do, and it was just like, I don't know what's happening, and be so freaked out and doubt myself on what I was going to be saying, who was going to buy what, and it was just a hot mess. And now, just a couple days ago, I was covering for a consultant she had some things come up, and she couldn't actually do a party that had already been scheduled out, and she said, Sarah, I need your help tomorrow morning. Can you do a party for me? Here's all the guests. You're going to their house. Handle them. Boom. And I didn't have to have that planning time of, okay, I need to get into the zone. How am I going to do this party and work my anxiety down? So just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. I'd also own, hold on. I would also own them. Okay. I'd also own them. So your fears and your non-skills in order. Hold on. I can't read my own notes. Okay, that's right. I just mixed up my things. Okay, so I would also own them in order, like, why did I not write this clearly? See, sometimes you just need a minute. So I didn't worry about the last, okay, yeah, there we go. I didn't worry about the last thing that would have to happen, like customer service, before I ever had a booking. Does that make sense? So I would work in order of what I needed my skills. So I needed to perfect my booking first. Then I needed to perfect my party skills. Then I needed to perfect my sharing opportunity skills. So you see what I'm saying? So you just go in order. You're not going to have them all at once. Don't start with the last in order to work to the first. That's not going to work. I watched other people. I would go with other consultants and watch what they were doing, and I knew that they were selling a lot at their parties, and I knew I wasn't, so I was like, okay, what is she doing that I'm not doing? And I would also know exactly how we make our money, both on the sales side and our team side. Like, make the most is when you sell a skincare set. So you really want to be able to show women, this is the skincare set. This is why it all works great as a set, not in pieces. Yes, we can sell it in pieces, but you really want the set as a whole versus just selling a moisturizer or a night solution. You know what I mean? So you got paid a lot more in sets. So I needed to change my script and really focus on those things that would sell a set. Okay. Okay, so we're almost done. Okay. So last thing we're going to talk about is the first skill, booking. Okay. Who do you book? Well, you start with a list. You write it down. If you're brand spanking new or new within the last couple of months, start with writing an original contact list. Everyone you know with skin. If you are not new, I would make 2 lists. One with new contacts that you may have, and the second with current customers. Okay. And next week we're going to cover on how to get more leads. But right now, work with what you've got. Okay. So how to book, what do you say? Well, guess what? You have texting scripts and calling scripts and things like that in on our website. But a super simple one would be, here's a text. Hi CCQ, it's Sarah. Do you have a quick minute? Wait till they respond. I'm excited. I just started my Mary Kay. I've been challenged to have 15 people try the products. You don't have to purchase anything. I just need to borrow your face. Boom, and you book her. Okay, so it doesn't have to be super hard. So that could be either with calling or texting. Really go over your texting scripts and follow them. Wherever you got them from, especially if you got them from me, they've been tried. They are not theory. They are true. They work, okay? And then along the line, you're going to have objections. And guess what? Look at this. This is going to be available to you. It's called the most common booking objections. Yes, we know them, okay? So that's going to run you through how to get past those, okay? And I could sit here and read you this whole document, but I know you're a big girl and you can read this document, okay? And then how to coach the appointment. Again, all of that information is on our website. Check it out and we can have a conversation if you're confused about it at all. Now here's some of the homework that I will give you guys, just to kind of get you on track to what you're doing. So you'll see a homework sheet on there under our PaceSetters, our week 1 PaceSetters on our website. There's a couple of changes I'm going to say. Instead of the submission, there's like a submit to your director. We're going to make it submit to me by Sunday night. Okay. So by Sunday night, submit this to me. Great. And you'll get points. And we'll have prizes with points. And it's going to be fantastic. So there you go. PaceSetters week 1 homework. Ignore that it says by noon on the 16th. I should have changed that because we had some things change in our office, but I forgot. It's already on there. Don't worry about it. Sunday, okay? So homework on there. You're going to be doing a 30-24 challenge. Okay? So a 30-24 challenge is 30 phone calls in 24 hours and getting some bookings. Okay, so there's your list. You can either use this or you can use the bubble sheet that I have on there. Whichever one you want to do is totally fine with me, but 24 hours, you guys, you would be surprised how many people you can book in 24 hours in that time frame, okay? Or in that time frame with 30 contacts. So there's that. I think the homework is really self-explanatory. I'll kind of go through it just briefly. Decide if you want to, how much you want to work, part-time, full-time, things like that. Make your weekly plan sheet. In fact, print them out for the next 4 weeks, a month, and share them with me. Do a weekly brain drain tonight. So get it all out onto paper. Just jot it down in a long list. Everything you want to do for work, everything you want to do for your home. Put it all on a long list, because when you have it all on a long list, it'll be easier to plug it into your weekly plan sheet. Call the $1 million message daily. The number is on our website. Or excuse me, it's on, oh look, it's right there. It's actually right there. I made it that easy for you. You don't even have to search for it. It's right there. And the rest you can just go through yourself. But that's like the most important thing. So, the last super important thing on there is going to be the communicate with me to your director. Well, I am your director. So communicate with me. Check in with me. The fastest way to not do anything in Mary Kay is to cut off all communication, because then there's absolutely no accountability. There's absolutely nothing that you're working towards. There's no direction. There's no nothing. So you just check in with me for a couple minutes a day just to kind of, look, Sarah, this is what I'm doing. What do you think about this? Ready, set, go. Awesome. It doesn't even have to be a long conversation, but it does help huge. So there is PaceSetters week number 1. I am so excited to see just how this will work out for you and where your business is going to go within the next 6 weeks. So I love you, and let me get back to my page here, and I wish you all the best.